Speak up and be heard on Jersey issues that matter most to you. Call Jersey Central with Bert Barron now at 732-545-9282 or toll free at 888-545-9282. Your state, your home, your voice. Jersey Central with Bert Barron on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC.
7:08, hour number 2 of Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. It is Bert Barron. Good morning to you. We do have our contest coming up. Chance to win some tickets to Throwback Bash at the PNC Bank Arts Center on September 13th, and also the free download of an Ethan Hawke film called Good Kill. All right, so we'll give away both prizes a little bit later on the show this morning. Joining me now on the Raritan Bay Medical Center Jersey Newsmaker Hotline, a very good friend of WCTC and a good personal friend, too. He's a former television news reporter and anchor and also a media expert. And we wanted to talk about the shooting, of course, that happened yesterday in Virginia. And he's got a very interesting personal connection to the folks there at the television station. He is Frank Cipolla, and he joins me this morning here on Jersey Central. Frank, good morning. It's Bert Barron.
Good morning to you, Bert. Pleasure to be on with you.
Always good to talk to you, my friend, and thanks so much for joining us this morning. As a guy who has spent countless thousands of hours over the years, I mean, how many times have you and a camera person gone out and did an interview or did a stand-up report for television news? Probably countless times you've done it. Give us your first impression when we got news about what happened yesterday in Virginia.
Well, a couple of things here. First of all, when you go out and do a live shot, as I did for Channel 9 and News 12 New Jersey and other stations, it is the most vulnerable time of your day because you're focused on so many different things at once. Bert, you're watching the cameraman for a cue. The control room is talking to you in your ear. You're trying to remember what you're going to say when the camera goes on. You're looking behind the cameraman. He's looking behind you. I've described it almost as landing on the moon. There's a lot of things going on all at once, and you're really very vulnerable there. When I first heard about it, a couple of things came to mind. I thought immediately that it was some sort of a left-wing or right-wing nut lashing out at the media, and this was going to be some sort of a trend or some sort of an effort to silence the media. The only real silver lining of all of this, quite frankly, Bert, is that it was a disgruntled employee. It was an internal problem and not some sort of conspiracy by a terrorist group or something to attack reporters on the street.
Yeah, let's try to put, someone who doesn't do what you and I do, Frank. Let's try to put them in the moment. I mean, if you're standing there on live television, like you kind of gave us a description, basically when you've seen the video, particularly that first-person angle that was kind of disturbing and was released yesterday too, you're really kind of oblivious. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, well, didn't somebody see the guy was there, and why didn't they do something at the time? Like you said, when you're locked in that moment, you've got a bunch of different things going on in your head, and you see, okay, yeah, I see somebody there. I don't know who it is, but I got a job to do, and I'm trying to focus on my work here and try to do a good job on live television. Try to just explain to people that you're focused on what's going on. You're kind of oblivious to your immediate surroundings.
You're absolutely correct. And Bert, I've seen it myself. You have seen it as well. People jumping behind the reporter, the guy who runs up and hugs and kisses the, good-looking female reporter, the guy that pushes the reporter, the guy that throws something at the reporter. We've seen this. I think, unfortunately, this is an extension of all of that in this immediate social media community that in which we live now, where everything is Instagram and Periscope and Facebook, where this shooter wanted to make a statement. He wanted to make sure that it was seen, aired from his perspective and the other perspective. But to answer your question, you're absolutely right. You have a sense of what's going on, but I don't think in her wildest dreams that this young woman thought that somebody would shoot at her. She might have even recognized the former reporter sort of hovering around there. But again, she's so focused in that moment and doing the interview that I don't believe that she ever thought that she would be shot, maybe harassed, maybe yelled at. I mean, I remember doing a report in a not-so-nice neighborhood in New York City years ago. We went live on the air in front of this huge apartment building, and people on the 20th and 30th floors were throwing batteries down on us, hoping to hit us while we were live on the air. You have to really lock in and focus and just keep your fingers crossed when it happens.
Yeah, maybe there was this fleeting moment in her mind. Maybe she caught a glimpse of the guy and just thought for a second, oh, great, what does this guy want? So let me finish up this interview and see what he's doing here and try to get rid of the guy if we had to. But what do you think is going to happen going forward, Frank? Are we going to see maybe elevated security from the media companies? Are they going to start sending people out almost as bodyguards just to keep an eye on the talent and on the camera people? Where do we go from here?
Well, I think one of three things happens. The least likely is that they will hire bodyguards. TV stations are crunched with their budgets now. They cannot really afford to send out a bodyguard for every live shot, number one. Number two, possibility, send out somebody else, a third person. But that person would be an associate producer or somebody who's just starting in the business, and that responsibility falling on that person would be to watch out what's going around and make sure it's all good. And number three, and I think the most likely, Bert, is I think every single TV station in America in the next 6 months will have an hour-long training session where all the reporters will be told what to look for, how to present themselves, how to make sure that if there's a problem to call off the live shot. Once that's done, the lawyers will come in, they'll have them sign everything, and then the reporters will go out and they'll be on their own.
Well, I like the idea of at least giving the people some kind of intensive training. I think that's something that all
Yeah.
media should do. Maybe we'll even see that come here to radio soon. But that's a good idea. We'll see how that kind of plays out. Frank Cipolla is our guest this morning on Jersey Central, former television news reporter and anchor, and he's also a media expert with us today. And Frank, you have a rather interesting connection to the general manager of the TV station, WDBJ, there in Virginia. Jeff Marks was his name. Can you talk about your personal connection with him?
Yeah, I think a lot of New Jerseyans have a connection to him. He was the first news director at News 12 New Jersey when it was launched in March of 1996, and he actually hired me. And I will tell you, he was and is one of the nicest news directors I ever worked for. I talked a little bit about him in the book I wrote about my 30 years in radio and television. And Jeff actually called me into his office one day and had a conversation with me. And he had one with me and every single reporter and anchor. And he said, Frank, if you're not happy doing something here, you let me know. If it's a story you don't like to do, if it's a shift you don't like to do, he said, because I want to put you and every single reporter and anchor here in the best spot where you can do your best work, because a happy reporter makes a happy news team, which makes great ratings. And no reporter, no news director has ever said that to me before or since. I have only found him to be the fairest of news directors. I loved working for him, and I can only imagine he gave this shooter every single opportunity to succeed. And of course, we find out there was just no way to save this.
Yeah, exactly. So the healing goes on. I know time heals all wounds, but it's going to take the people there a long time to kind of get over, because at the end of the day, it's people, Frank, and these are friends. These are someone's daughter, someone's son. That you never know when you're on the clock. That's why you got to cherish every minute that you're alive in this earth, and you got to live every moment like it's your last. And yesterday was proof, and it reminded me. You know what? Live life to the fullest. There's no downtime. There's no rest time. It's lifetime, and you got to make every second count.
And Bert, this is a very noble profession. Journalism is an extremely noble profession, and I've been encouraging all of my reporter friends today, go out boldly today. The only way you honor these people is to do exactly what you do without fear and report the news and do it the best you can. You can't be looking around you when you do a live shot. It is what it is. But your job is to be a good reporter, so go out boldly and honor them by doing the best job you can today.
Well said. Frank Cipolla, my guest on Jersey Central. Thank you for your time this morning, Frank. It was great to hear from you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again very soon. All right?
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Bert.
All mine. Thank you. All right, Frank Cipolla, my guest on